Welcome into the RotoWire DFS Soccer Show Championship Sunday. We have a 10-game Premier League slate we're going to discuss over at DraftKings. It's on Sunday. First time ever. I am on a show with Mo Al-Hendy here. He's joining us and Ryan Belongia as usual. We're going to have a lengthy discussion, but first we have to give congratulations to Mo here, his Tottenham team. Guess what? The celebration, the parade is today. I'm going to want to talk about that game today because Tottenham are celebrating the Europa League today, less than 48 hours before this game. We're going to talk about that game, but congrats, Mo. Welcome in.
Thanks, Adam. It's been a long time coming. I think I was reminded several times that 2008 was the last time that we won silverware. So really, I think before or really right when I became a Tottenham fan, probably one of the times that it felt like we least deserved it, not in the context of the game, which I thought was actually run very well, but in the context of the entire run, just and the season and the fact that we are one level above relegation. But none of it matters. Ange delivered on his promise. He always wins trophies in his second year. We got our trophy. We're going to the Champions League. Everything's great.
Ryan, the funny thing is that Arsenal just keeps being dragged up into every conversation on Twitter I'm seeing. So I'm going to drag it up here with you. Sorry about Arsenal here playing for second place in the table.
Yeah. Glory, Tottenham Hotspur. I was happy. No, yeah. I was, I didn't really want Spurs to win, obviously, but I was not disappointed to see United lose. I'm kind of happy for Big Ange, actually. Saw a video of him hugging his family on the pitch afterwards and everything that they've been through. And I gave him a lot of shit for always winning a trophy in his second season, but I mean, can't argue with the man. So yeah, props to Ange Ball and to Spurs.
Props to Spurs and props to this lineup Spurs are going to put out Sunday. RotoWire.com/soccer. We have a 15% off code. We now have a new code, YouTube15, YouTube15 to get 15% off a RotoWire subscription. If you don't have it, just get it for this month. You want this cheat sheet. This cheat sheet is going to be updated. We'll see lineups come out. Every lineup will be out on here. I don't want to guarantee it, but I told my employee, I told the soccer people, we need these lineups in before they get on DraftKings, and they have been all season. So lineups will be on this cheat sheet before they're updated at DraftKings because DraftKings gets them from Opta, and Opta hasn't been updating them on time. But we have the odds here. We have everything. 10 games, guys. It's a little different. I did a primer earlier this week that kind of went over some historical numbers and gave a few things out. And, everyone always wants to go into this and be like, who has something to play for? What really matters? But I think if we look at the odds, we look at some of these matchups, I think maybe some people put too much into who actually has something to play for. We look at the odds, Arsenal, the biggest favorite, could be going against a C squad, Southampton. We look at Brighton going against whoever's going to start for Tottenham. We look at these different situations. Mo, what is the first look for a slate like this with so many teams we're looking at? Do we just look at the odds? Do you want to actually focus on maybe some teams that need something to play for because they're going to be pushing more? What's your first look at a slate like this?
Yeah, so I think it's a mixed approach. I teased in the chat in the lead up to this that I might fade some of the more popular plays, but really as I look at it, we don't really have any overly expensive plays. I remember there was one year where we got Bruno at 11K, and I was like, "There's no way I'm playing that," especially since he didn't have much to play for. And then Bruno was the guy you needed. But this year, you might look at that. You see Arsenal are in this favorite spot. You're like, Saka probably should be around 11. He's only 9.5, right? So it's really hard to rule out any plays. But I will say, even with the preface that you've kind of put out there, where the reality is that very often it's not the chase game or the game where there's something at stake that matters. That is still where I start, right? Because I want to know which game is it that when it gets in the 80th minute, the team has something to play for, and it's either Neto that's going to be, just banging in crosses nonstop, or it's going to be, some other player who is trying everything they can do to create a goal. And so that's where I'm starting, right? And I know you said some of it in the primer, but in my kind of outlook, we've got 7 teams that are playing for something. I've got Brighton and I've got Brentford, who are in contention for that last 8th spot, which may or may not go to Europe. So I have
it's probably like a 1% chance, I think it is, or something. It's I can't remember exactly what it is, but it's like something crazy that's not going to happen, basically.
So what I know that Chelsea needs to win, but if Chelsea win, what else needs to happen?
They have to finish in 7th, I believe is what it is, or 6th. Oh. They have to finish in the Europa League spot.
Interesting.
Because with a win, they get Europa League. So if they finish in the Europa League spot, then that moves down.
So in my mind, the way I think about this is you tell the players that there's a chance, and that's going to be enough for them to go out there and do their best. So that's why I'm including them in this matrix of people who have something to possibly play for. Then we've got the 5 people who are all in contention for Champions League, which is Forest, City, Newcastle, Chelsea, and Villa. None of them are clearly safe. City is a little bit more comfortable, but even they are in the possibility of being chased down. So those are the 7 guys I'm starting with, Adam, and how I'm kind of looking at this on first glance.
Yeah, Manchester City, it's if they lose, they basically can't lose. That's kind of what it comes down to. If they draw, then they're probably going to be fine. Other teams have to win, more or less. They have to win. Aston Villa, if they win, it may still not be enough. But I'd say, you mentioned the 7 teams. I don't think Brighton are going to lose to C Squad Tottenham post celebration, and Brentford need Brighton to lose. So I'm not sure I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to play Brentford because they need to win to finish 8th, something like that. But as we get going, a lot of this is going to depend on who's starting for these teams and what these lineups look like. I think from these projections, I think we're pretty close. I did just make, after doing the betting show, check it out. It's on the podcast feed. It's on our YouTube. I did notice I still had Son in this expected 11. I do not think Son's going to start. He's a big partier from what I'm seeing. I don't think he's going to start this one. I actually put Brennan Johnson in because I have no idea who's going to start. They don't really have anyone else. I don't know who else is going to start for Tottenham. But there's going to be instances where someone random steps in. I reference that because I think that Wolverhampton are actually going to put out their A squad based off of Vitor Pereira's comments. So that's where I come down in that game. But Ryan, do you take the same general strategy? You want to know who needs to push and all that. But at the end of the day, Arsenal are still the biggest favorite. So how do we attack that game? And what, I guess, speaking from as an Arsenal guy here, what kind of lineup do you expect? And are we expecting 90 minutes from someone like Saka?
Yeah, good questions. I agree with everything Mo said. But then, that leaves off the 2 teams with the highest total, top 2 teams in the league, Liverpool and Arsenal. Adam, can you do me
top 3 implied total? Because Bournemouth is there as well.
I just mean the team total.
Team total as well.
Can you sort by goal scored, expected goal scored? Okay, Bournemouth, and now can you just do me a favor and reload the page, please?
What?
I just want it updated. That the odds aren't. Now, can you do it again, please? Okay, so this is going to illustrate my point. Every single time I check this cheat sheet, Liverpool's expected goal total goes up.
It literally just went up. That's kind of crazy.
Exactly why I wanted him to do that, because all 10 times I've checked it, it goes up, and I just don't understand it. So
I pulled it up 15 minutes ago.
That's
okay, and it's up by 0.07 again since then. So that's where I wanted to start, because that's the thing that jumps out about this slate, and it's the pricing on the Liverpool guys too, which is super annoying. Like Salah is way too cheap, at 8,700 with the best goal scoring odds, and then Jota, who's in our projected and a lot of projecteds, is 3,700. It'd be really great if he didn't start, or if everybody just came to some sort of gentleman's agreement that we're not going to play Jota no matter what. Because 3,700 is ridiculous. But I just don't. I'll throw it back to you quickly. I don't understand why the total keeps going up. Like, I mean, if this was a normal game in the season, Pool against Palace, it would never be like this. This is wild. I mean, is this just going to be a pickup game? I mean, Pool they're not going to play Trent. They don't have McAllister. I mean, to be honest, I don't even think they're that good. So, and Palace just shut out City. Like, I don't get this. Explain it to me, Adam.
I think it's incorrect, or there's someone that's giving information that Crystal Palace are going to rotate extremely instead of. I don't think they're going to rotate, but that's what it seems like. This
is wild. They have nothing to play for, and their total's going up by the hour.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly. I think it was 2.2 when I wrote the DraftKings article earlier in the week. I think that was Tuesday.
That's just insane. Yeah, I remember. And then I saw it go to 2.4, which was like yesterday even. And not
I'm not entirely sure. Obviously, that's going to change the public's perception. But for me, on this slate, if Crystal Palace roll out their squad, which I think they're going to do, they rotated a bunch of guys Tuesday. Now they're playing against, the league winners. Of course, they're celebrating their parades on Monday, but if they can get a point, if they can beat Liverpool, I don't think they're going to go into this and be like, yeah, we won the FA Cup, so screw this game, and we're going to allow 5 goals. No. I don't think that's how they're going to play.
To me, and knowing their manager too, it's league winners versus cup winners. We just beat City. Let's go beat Liverpool.
It seems really weird. Mo, do you have a take on this?
I'm completely on the other side of you. I think the fact that the number keeps increasing this much is a bit crazy, but I think people are just leaning heavily into the Salah history narrative, right? I mean, they've been waiting for him to kind of break this whatever record he's chasing. I don't know if it's like combined goals and assists or if it's just assists, but they've been waiting for him to get there. And this Palace team, I think 52 points broke their record of the most they've scored, the most points they've had in an EPL season. I sent the video in the Discord chat of what's his name, Henderson, celebrating, saying, we don't care about the league, we've got the cup. I think this game doesn't matter in any way to Palace. I don't think they're viewing it in any material way as a cup winner versus league winner. I think that there is no reason for them to be playing folks. I wouldn't be surprised if Eze and Munoz and others get the start, but I don't think that they're going to be going out there with the goal of let's make a statement. And I think from Liverpool's perspective, I think the only goal here is to pump Salah's stats. I think that's it. Jota hasn't played in ages, so I presume he's going to try to score, and I think that price tag is insane. But otherwise, I think they're going to go out there and they're going to say, we got to do this one for Salah. So I don't know if it's going to be the smash game, but I think Salah scores. I think that Liverpool win comfortably. And I think that, we don't see much resistance from Palace.
One thing I'll say, so Salah's had 2 months to get all these records. He has 1 goal and 1 assist in his last 8 games. And the only game Liverpool has looked really good in those 8 games is home against Tottenham. And I think it was probably their B squad in that one. Why are we just assuming
fraudulent Liverpool?
Why are we assuming they're just going to be
I'm not
rolling
I'm definitely
and not. Okay, this is an easy win. I don't get it actually.
Maybe the total keeps climbing because they watched the Brighton game a few days ago. Chance after chance. I mean, did you see the floors on the Brighton guys? I mean, Liverpool couldn't really do anything. Look at the Palace total in this game. It's
they had
much higher than you'd think.
Palace
Liverpool total higher than you'd think.
Liverpool was one sitter, just a terrible, terrible miss from Salah from going 3-1 up in that game and being job done.
The guy he's in summer. He doesn't care. He's in summer
he
mode.
Absolutely cares. This guy is is he's crazy.
I looked at the first matchup between these two, and Liverpool won 1-0 with the Gravenberch goal. Salah got subbed in the 70th. No chances. And Tyreek Mitchell didn't even play that game.
I've been very clear that I think 2.6 is overdoing it, and I would be surprised to see them score 3. But
I think I'm going to say Salah only scores if it's a PK.
I can see that. We can see
We'll see.
All right, before we get off the rails a little bit more here, let's move on to forward. Try and get some organization to the show a little bit. So forward, we'll start with our usual cash game discussion, and that kind of builds out to tournaments. And tournaments for a 10 gamer is like basically whoever you want. You're not gonna be duplicating someone else in a tournament unless you're in like a 5-person tournament kind of thing. You're I don't know. Do you guys usually worry about duplicating other people in the King of the Pitch contest? Like it's not really a worry in this 10 game slate. Ryan's thinking about it.
Ryan, you go first.
Not duping, but a little bit. I'm thinking about it. Yeah, because there's going to be players on this slate that are like not owned, and there's going to be players like Salah, Salah is going to be the most popular, I would assume. And I don't know, like if he scores a goal and like 18 points, even, do you necessarily want him? I mean, yeah, I don't know. Like it depends what else happens, but at least takes a spot away from a lower owned guy who can drop like 35. I don't know. I feel like most of the King of the Pitches, we see like an outlier score from a lower owned guy, but you don't need it. Like you can just try to play the best plays. I'm not sure like anyone's going to be too chalky, right? Besides like, yeah, I don't know. Like I think about it, but it's not like necessarily the first thing on my mind.
Yeah. There's just, go ahead, Mo.
I was just going to say, kind of similar to what Ryan was saying, I don't think about duping. I do think about ownership, right? Because I just remember very well that one King of the Pitch 2 years ago Moneyball, took it all with a lower owned Bruno who put up 30, and he was 19-20%, not played by most folks who were more competitive. So that does give you an edge. On this slate, though, I don't see that type of player, right? I've already said if Saka does it, and I will happily eat my words if it's like 2 goals and assists, because I'm going to have some exposure regardless. But I don't see him in that same mode. I also don't think Salah goes off in that similar way. So I think ultimately for this particular one, it's probably going to be play the best plays with a nod to some lower owned players who I know folks may not have as much of an interest in, like an Mbomo, like some other folks.
Yeah, to get going on forward, we can talk about those main guys. Salah is 8,700, Saka is 9,500. Pedro Neto, with everything to play for, as Mo suggested early on, 7,700. I did write up him. And then as we get going, there's these other options. Speaking of players who have everything to play for, could be needing a goal in the final 10 minutes, Marco Asensio, 7,700, fresh off a full 90 in Aston Villa's last game. Martinelli is also 7,700. Semenyo, Evan Nielsen, Anthony Gordon. Anthony Gordon, I wrote about it a little bit. He would have been one of the first players in, but Tonali was taking corners over him, so not in the conversation for me. So did I miss anyone who stands out here, and do you have a favorite from this? Is Saka your guy here, Ryan?
Yeah, I think I would play Saka in cash games. Tournaments, you can make any argument. Arsenal specifically, though, like kind of agree with Mo. You don't love that there's nothing to play for. Saka is almost certainly not playing 90 here. Like you'd probably think he plays 70-ish on average. Got subbed at 75 last week. Arsenal have nothing to play for, and they're pretty healthy again. So they're going to make 5 subs, I would assume. One will be Lewis Skelly, and the rest will be attacking players. So it's a great matchup against Southampton, though. He could score 30 in the first half. Like, I still like Saka. I like all the Arsenal players. We talked about Salah already. You mentioned, there's the 7,700 guys are all good plays. Martinelli, Neto, and Asensio. If I was going to add, it would be the Bournemouth players. Any of them, really. Depending on the lineup. Kluivert would be in the conversation depending on the lineup. His minutes recently have been worrying. But certain lineups, I would like Kluivert. The other guys are cheap enough. But yeah, for cash games, I think that's probably all you're considering. I mean, Jota's 3,700. That too.
Do you think people are actually going to go to Jota? I don't think you need to save money like that.
I think Jota. People would. I mean, he's 3,700. It's a joke, actually. I wish they could change it because he can score 9 points and be a winning play.
If people play Jota in cash games,
why not? Why wouldn't you?
Send me a head-to-head. I don't care.
You can afford.
Head-to-head.
You can afford to punt a spot. You just play Jota.
Good punt with Jota. I'm glad punt with Jota, and I don't know. We'll get Joachim. No, not Joachim. Sorry, I'm a year late here, but we'll get Chris Richards to take him out, something like that. Our American compatriot here. But
so just for what it's worth, Adam, the projections, our wonderful projections, have Jota giving you 11.6 for 3.7, right?
You talking about RotoWire or the Pasty guy?
Which ones are on the Patreon?
Zinpax.
Zinpax AI, yeah.
So Zinpax AI has it at 11.6, which I mean, if you get that kind of value out of Jota,
that's not a floor though.
Sure, the floor is 6.5, which to Ryan's point, again, if you get that, he allows you to play Saka and Salah, who have by far the highest projected floor and totals. Then you're doing some real damage. So I'm fully on the Ryan train here. It's really hard to look past that, certainly in tournaments, but just even in cash, I think the same thing.
Those projections are input into the optimizer, and he's 0%. The 6.5 points for a floor of 3,700, he's 0%, even though he's one of the best values on the slate.
Well, you got the wrong settings. So.
Of course, no. Of course, he's going to be 0% there because there's 20 teams to choose from, and tons of guys are too cheap. So you just make a mid-range lineup that projects better. Really, with Jota, I mean, he's minus 110 to score a goal, so it's defense too, and then you add assists in there. So really, you have to put goal equity as part of his floor. I mean, of course, there's times when he's going to bust and it's going to look like a great fade. I mean, he's a center forward who's been doing nothing and is probably going to play 60 minutes, so he can score 2 points too. I hear you, Adam. I would if Jota. I don't want to play Jota, but he's 3,700. It's a stupid price.
Yeah, I just think you just don't actually need to go down there, but obviously it depends how much you like Salah and I don't know De Bruyne.
No, you don't.
And other
you don't.
Players.
You're right. There's soft pricing all across the board, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in terms of I'd say in cash games, I would actually put Kluivert off the board. I don't want any part of someone who's gone 45 minutes and went 45 minutes his last start, and that last start was Tuesday. I don't think he's been 100%. I know they're kind of short on options, but I just don't want to play someone like that, even home against Leicester, where this guy is just at risk of going 45 minutes, and that's the opposite kind of move you want in cash games.
Yeah.
And then in the opposite mold, I wouldn't worry about Saka's minutes, which, maybe those things contradict themselves. But I just feel like this matchup is a little different in terms of Arsenal, and that we're getting the Southampton back line. So we've seen in recent weeks. So Kyle Walker-Peters is basically done with the team. His contract's over. He's not going to be in. He's arguably one of their best defenders, and Bednarek's out, and then Harvard Bellis got injured last week. So they're down couple center backs. like James Bree, Nathan Wood, just a couple guys who barely played the season. They're starting Mo's guy Wellington. Sugawara could be in here. We actually don't even know what this is going to look like. So like they're like Jack Stevens, like this backline.
You don't got to sell me on Arsenal.
I'm just not worried about. I mean, you were saying Saka 70 minutes.
Like Mo said, to win the king of the pitch, you want your guy out there in the 85th. Saka for cash games is a lock. Saka for cash games is a lock. I would never fade Salah if I played anyone in cash games. So if that was a question, like it shouldn't be.
Okay. So Saka is the lock in cash games.
For me, he's midfield eligible too. So for me, I would play Saka in cash games. And then like I agree with what you said about Kluivert, and I think that's what most people think. But there's like a certain scenario where he could play 90. That's just what I think.
I'm talking cash games here. I mean,
I am too. I mean, he takes penalties and set pieces. So he's way too cheap for that.
Why would you want a player who's just getting subbed off eurly?
Because I told you, there's a certain lineup where
there's a certain lineup where anyone can go 90. Like
no. I won't spell it out for you too much, but I don't want to spell it out too much. There's another player on the team who plays even less minutes, and when he starts, never goes 90. And if they both start together, because Lewis Cook is out, Kluivert's going to go 90 certain times. So look for a certain lineup.
Yeah, I know. We're talking about David Brooks. Like you don't have to be you don't have to be secretive here. Like,
well, I mean,
this game doesn't mean anything. Like they're gonna bring on.
It does. It does. Like it's the last home game. They have nobody on the bench. Like I don't know. Like it's a big season for Bournemouth still. Every game means something.
It doesn't mean Kluivert's gonna go 90 because him and David Brooks start. Like they're all these teams are gonna use 5 subs. Like we're not gonna be like, oh, Kluivert.
Why though? Why? What are they resting him for?
Yeah,
he's not 100%. Why would he?
How do you know though? Show me one thing where
45 minutes. Why would he go 45 minutes in a close game against Manchester City?
He subbed up for tactical. I mean,
so
I don't like.
Let me just say this. Usually, Kluivert is an early sub, and there's a very good argument for him to be an earlier sub here, which I think that's fine. I don't dispute that. I don't have him going 90 either.
I don't dispute it either.
But I will say every typical player that he subs for is either playing with him or out. So Ouattara is out for this game. Sinistera, I believe, is still going to remain out for this one as well. Brooks, sure, I grant you that if he is on the bench, he's a likely candidate. But there's other guys in this lineup that are likely candidates as well.
I currently have Ben Winterburn in the starting 11. He started defensive mid in FA Cup this season. If David Brooks and Kluivert are starting, like why can't Winterburn come on for Kluivert? Like I don't. Like,
well, he could, but it would be more likely for Brooks.
Less likely. Yeah, I agree with that part. For sure.
I agree with you, with both of you guys. Like, you shouldn't even have brought it up because it's only one specific lineup. In this lineup, Kluivert's coming off at 60 minutes, like, so often. Like, what did I say first off? Like, 80% of the time he's getting, like, subbed at 60. It's just, like, one thing to look for because they have no bench.
All right. Otherwise, at forward, what do we got? Mo hasn't talked too much about forward. Give us some breakdown here.
Look, I think you nailed the I like the comment. I think you guys have nailed kind of the bigger cash plays, right? Like Saka to me, absolute lock, right? And then from there you have the path where you can go Neto. You have the path where you could go, I don't know, who else?
Asensio, etc.
Asensio. For what it's worth, I lean Asensio more than Neto. Neto, I had to painfully watch in whatever last slate he played on.
Manchester United.
Right. He look, when he gets pushed to the margins in these games, he stays there, right? And unfortunately, the way that Neto gets his floor is not actually good soccer. Like, I'm just going to say it, right? Like, usually when Neto is smashing, It's when they're down a goal and they've decided they have no better way to score than to just put in 15 crosses in the box.
Oh, man.
This is my take. I'm not saying he's a bad player. I'm just saying in the Chelsea system, he only seems to go off, goal and assist aside, when they're in this unhealthy chase, creating bad opportunities. So I like Asensio more. For what it's worth, I mean, I don't know if I'd like him more than Neto, but even Minte at 6'4" is someone who I think creates healthier points, right? Like he naturally, through his play, through the distribution of their offense, ends up putting a lot more crosses, shots, and so on without needing to rely on set pieces and such. So I say all that to say I'm low on Neto. I'm high on Asensio. And then I'll go on some other players I'm high on as well once we get to midfield, but that's where I lean.
Let's Ryan, I got a couple questions here for just guys in this upper range, just for tournaments. Like, how much are you looking at guys we always talk about? Cunha, 9,300, seems like his last game for Wolverhampton, kind of like a situation I want to avoid, but home against Brentford, 9,300. Jared Bowen against Ipswich is 9,400. And we have Manchester City players. Haaland is 8,900, and Manchester City have scored 12 goals in the last 3 games against Fulham. And then the Liverpool, we talked about Liverpool's offense earlier, but like we have Sarr at 6,200, Mateta at 5,600. Just all these interesting tournament plays. Does a couple stand out to you in terms of their upside, or is anyone standing out to you in terms of what you want to play?
I'm not sure I just need to look at any underdogs like Palace players on this slate. I mean, I don't know, maybe if you're game stacking, but I wouldn't go with the Palace side. I think Cunha and Bowen are good pivots, like tournament pivots off. They can both score 30. I mean, I know it's Cunha's last game, but like, why can't he? I don't know. You know, he takes pens, he takes sets. I mean, we've seen it. Didn't he like lead the league in goals above XG or something?
I don't know if that's a good stat or not, but
well, I mean, kind of. Bowen too, yeah, good spot for Bowen. Probably going to be one of the guys who plays 90. Spot where you could actually play some West Ham guys. I think that's a good tournament play. I can't really play City guys, but I get it. Like they're going to be like, I'm not wasting king of the pitch tickets on Haaland as a serial fader, you know. But I get it. They're not going to be popular on this slate. I do agree with Mo about Neto and Asensio here in this specific slate. Last week at that game against United, the reason why Neto didn't score is because George started at forward. Not only does it give Neto no space, but there's no one to cross to. So it like ruined the whole Chelsea team. If Jackson's in there, or if even
Jackson's not going to play,
it makes a world of difference, right? Yeah, like just in general. And then that game having, I want to say, the lowest total on the board, does it?
It is.
So that is not encouraging.
Yep. I had the same thought.
If I was going to play any Chelsea player, though, it'd probably be Neto. Like, you know, that if they get down and they're chasing still, like he's going to be in there for 90 minutes racking up floor. And you're probably not really going to have that scenario in many games. Really good tournament plays are the Villa guys, besides Asensio. They're not really going to get touched, and I think they could smash United here. Also, a really good tournament play that I might not get to is Danny Welbeck for 7,200. I think he is with Ruder out, João Pedro out again, and like Spurs who are going to put out a clown car. People won't want to click Welbeck, but he could easily score a brace here. He even had like 14 floor against Liverpool last game. That's kind of what I think.
I just want to put the marker down. Tell is going to take all sets, score a brace, and
yeah. I should have mentioned Tell. He's in play.
Yeah, he's 5K I remember the one game where I faded him, he actually did do this. I don't actually know who takes sets in this lineup that's being proposed. I think he would be the most likely. Reguilon has played no minutes, but I guess he's the other contender. So he would be.
Didn't he take against Villa?
I take it back, Adam. I could consider an underdog. I could play a tell.
Yeah, he took
better than
one.
Jota to me.
He took one and Son took one. So and Son started that game. So tell I think would have to be in play. The last person I'll shout out, Adam, is one that you already shouted out in your article. I think Gordon is not in the best position, but he's definitely in play. He's 6,500. They are not going to do much with Wilson up front. I mean, they need someone who's going to create goals and be kind of a focal point for their offense. Barnes and Murphy, from my opinion of them, are players who play well off of like the ball, and they're kind of good once you put them in the position to shoot. Barnes can dribble a little bit, so I'll give him credit there. But I think Gordon is the creator. He may not have stats with Tonali in, but they need to win. They're also on a really high implied goal total of 2.38, which has come down a little bit, but still puts them right among the top. So at 6.5, again, more of a tournament than a cash play, but even in cash, he could give you some good value.
Yeah, Harvey Barnes, 7K, Jacob Murphy, 6,800. So getting Gordon cheaper than those guys is interesting as well.
Forgot to mention Callum Wilson, 4,900 with the second best goal odds on the slate.
Callum Wilson is there, similar to 3 years ago when he was at Burnley, 2 years ago at Burnley. Yeah, go for it. Yeah, that's okay. I kind of like Barnes a little more than Gordon for upside, just because it seems like he's more willing to shoot a little more. As Mo was saying, Gordon may be more of a creator in this side kind of a thing. And there we go. We got a question. H Giant is asking, no love for Wilson if Isak is out.
I mean, he's got to be in the conversation.
There's plenty of love
odds on the slate. Right? Am I wrong?
Yeah, he just, this is like a Jota situation. He's barely played the season. He's always at risk for a first half injury because he's always hurt, and he was pretty bad last game for Newcastle against Arsenal. Yeah, I mean, play him because he has got good goal odds and he's in a good spot. That's basically.
But a cautionary note. It's been like 3, maybe longer sheets now where like people treat Everton like the Everton it was when it started the season. And under Moyes, they are, and am I right about that? That's Moyes now, right? Under Moyes, they are a tight defensive unit. You have Pickford putting up these consistent, 5 saves, 1 win, 1 clean sheet. I don't know that they give up that many goals. And so, for someone like Wilson, who's only going to get there on goals, just keep that in mind.
I will say I'm slightly on the other side of that because Branthwaite and Tarkowski are both out. Branthwaite got hurt last week. So, I mean, we're looking at O'Brien and Michael Keane, and we also have Everton's been celebrating their send-off of Goodison for the past week. We have goodbyes to Ashley Young and Doucouré. Yep. I'm just not sure where the headspace of this Everton team is at. So I'm actually a little bit on Newcastle here in this spot, especially at home. But let's move on to midfield. We gotta get going here, guys. De Bruyne is 10.4K and Bomo's 10.1K. It seems like both of you guys kind of prefer Saka and Salah a little bit here, and not really wanting to spend that much on a midfielder with split set pieces, both on the road. Those guys are the ones who stand out because otherwise, you have to get down a little bit in price in terms of guys who actually stand out. Who would it be? Marcus Tavernier. Who did I write about? Bomo's 10.1, Tavernier 6.7K. And then, yes, of course, Gruda is 4.9K. Ryan. Mo. So what are your first thoughts on De Bruyne and Mbomo in these spots, both away from home? De Bruyne doesn't seem like he's given everything. This is final Manchester City game, but a lot of games subbed early, Tuesday. What are your thoughts here on these 10K midfielders?
So I don't like the 10K midfielders for the reason that you pointed out, is that I have a lot of folks way down in the salary that I've starred as folks I really like. I think Gruda in that game versus Poole looked great. He's been a guy who has been waiting for his chance all season. Just the fact that there's been so many guys ahead of him in that Brighton team, right? You got to have Matoma not fit, and then Pedro is there, and so it's been hard to get playing time, and Ruder before him. So I think Gruda is a fantastic player already. He now has all the stats in that lineup, so he is just so tempting in a game that they will want to win. Tavernier similarly has been getting the minutes to really start and shine. I think he's likelier than Kluivert to start and go 90. So I really like him. And then I like some of the guys who are dual eligible and will allow you kind of some flexibility. So, like moving Saka down here so you can play Asensio. That's another one. And I even like Damsgaard. I know you were a little cold on Damsgaard because he doesn't have the same ceiling of Mbomo. He's also half his price, and so I really like that. I think ultimately there's so many value options that I'm going to be not very high on playing at least De Bruyne. I have a different opinion on Mbomo, but not in cash.
Ryan, what do you think?
Yeah, pretty similar thoughts to Mo. Tavernier, I think a lot of times would look like probably the best value, or at least better value than those 10K guys. Good chance to go 90, splitting sets, good matchup. So yeah, that feels good. Damsgaard is too cheap there. I wouldn't have normally considered him. You'd expect him to be more expensive, but yeah, I think 5,300 is a pretty good price for him. Not quite as good as Gruda. I'm with Mo there. Played him against Liverpool. He looked good. Good spot for Brighton. Definitely a minutes worry. Like he's an underdog to go past 70. Probably plays 65 most times, but he's cheap and it's a good matchup. So yeah, I think it's fine for cash. Was there one more? Yeah, I think I mentioned Tav's probably the first guy in, maybe, or the guy you feel best about. Like a lot of other guys for tournaments. One kind of, I guess we were just talking about Newcastle. You got to mention Tonali, right? 6,400. He's a guy that no one's really going to play. I think though, despite the role, and if you just happen to get a goal, it could be a big score. So he's got to be at least in the conversation.
For the set piece donks, we got El Kanouche at 4,400 and James Fraud-Prowse at 3,800. If you want to go down there for cash games, maybe, I don't know, maybe utility spot or something like that. They are taking set pieces, and
Adam, I got a big question for you. Same price. JFP or Jota?
Cash games?
I don't know. Does it matter?
Yeah.
I know that's a tough one for you. I know.
I don't want to answer that question.
Ben Winterburn over both of them?
Jeremy Manga, 3,800.
Okay.
Big Pap
Good
Daddy.
tournament plays at mid.
Pap Daddy Sarr for 3,700 if he starts.
To your point, Adam, like El Kanouche is going to project for a good floor, and he is a player with a good floor. So I could see the optimizer easily preferring him over Jota when it comes down to it, because, the reality is he is going to produce a better floor 8, 9 out of 10 times than Jota. He's just not going to ever beat the ceiling of what you would want to see from that. And I shouldn't say he's not ever. I mean, he has all the ability to do it as well. It's just not as good of a spot.
Yeah, I might actually talk myself into him in tournaments, the more I think about it, and the more I look at Bournemouth not having one of their defensive midfielders. But maybe that's for another show.
Sorry, I just noticed we skipped over the set piece taker for the team with the highest total for the same price as Pedro Neto. Any interest?
Are we looking at Szoboszlai?
Your boy. No one's going to touch him, right? I mean, everybody wants Poole, but not the set piece taker.
He's not in the projected though.
That's why.
I mean,
I've seen him in other projected. I don't know why he wouldn't start.
I mean, why wouldn't anyone start? I mean,
right? Yeah, you're right. He could start anyone.
Like,
hopefully he doesn't start Josie.
He started as a defensive midfielder in their last game. I don't know. Like this Liverpool situation, we can't even make a comment on it till we see the lineup, and then like we have to project 5 subs for who's coming off for him. And I just
agree.
don't. If Szoboszlai is in a defensive midfielder role, like he's off the board for that price anyway. Even if he's an attacking role, like is he going to go 90? I just don't think. Then again,
I'm just throwing it out there. I know.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, Declan Rice is there too. What about Declan Rice? No one's going to click Declan.
Declan's less likely to get subbed. So there's that.
I was going to mention that, but I like Merino. I like Mikel Merino in tournaments more than I like Declan Rice. Merino is my guy here. If he's in
Merino
a false nine,
start?
If he's in a false 9 role over Trossard, Merino, he's in.
I don't think he will be, but I like the shout out, but he's not going to start it forward.
Why not?
I'd be shocked. I would be shocked because that was just out of necessity. That's like gone forever. I feel like there's no need to like Havertz is back. Trossard's there. Like, I don't know. I could be wrong, but I don't see it.
Yeah. Merino in a false 9 is preferred to Trossard in a false 9 though.
In a game against Southampton, I just can't see Arteta rolling out Mikel Merino in the false 9.
I agree.
I would be very surprised. Like, to me, this is, hey boys, people are talking shit. Go out and score 5 on this shitty Southampton team. Like, Trossard, you're up top. Like, come on, we're Arsenal. Like,
yeah, but the way that Southampton play, you don't want like a short guy like Trossard as your false 9. You want to cross the ball to someone like Merino who can actually hit it.
Just start Kai. Might as well just start Kai.
He's not ready to start.
Okay. So if maybe Merino starts, yeah, because Kai will come on and they just won't change the system up. But right. I can't see it.
It doesn't make sense to start Trossard as your false 9 in this game, is what I'll say.
No, it makes sense to start him as your number 9. Not a false 9. Just go out there because we don't, you can have luxury players against Southampton. This isn't like we're up against Real.
All right, we still have a discussion here. Likelihood of either one of you playing De Bruyne and Mbeumo here, as they are.
I know what Mo's going to say, and I agree with Mo.
I'm gonna let Ryan take this one first, because
I mean, yeah, I have some interest in Mbeumo and 0 in KDB.
You think KDB is going to be too popular?
No, I don't really think anybody will play him. Maybe people will. I don't know. Am I misreading the situation? I like.
Why wouldn't people play him?
Because there's guys in better spots and he gets subbed.
He's gotten subbed like before the 80th minute one time in his last 8 starts.
Isn't that his most recent one though?
His most recent 2.
Yeah, they were up by 2 goals at that point.
They were losing to Palace.
So look. There's a good chance that in my King of the Pitch lineups, he will make it into 1 just for the exposure to every possibility that is, semi-decent. It's just not good value for money, I'll say, right? The problem with the way City have reshaped themselves in the aftermath of that horrible run is that they are no longer as fun and like fantasy point creating as they were before, right? Even Marmoush, who I never stop raving about and who I like have a man crush on as a player, he just doesn't give you big floor points. He scored an amazing goal early in that game and they needed to keep attacking and he still ended up with 17. So the script that De Bruyne creates a bunch of floor points in is the one where they're chasing. And even then, if the best scenario is where he does the goal and the assist and gets you that, right? But if you're missing one component of that, he doesn't pay off his price tag. If he's just chasing and then they either come back or they don't come back and he doesn't give you the goal and the assist, you end up with something like this 14, 15 point floor, maybe even less. And if he scores early, they have a tendency to kind of retreat a bit, not continue to dominate. And then he also doesn't get you there. And so the risk reward ends up being, am I going to spend 10 plus K for the scenario that I need, even though it is far less likely from him and far more likely from other folks?
I'd say that was a good analysis. Mboma was more popular than I thought he was going to be on. I think it was a 2 or 3 game Sunday slate against Fulham. Is any of that popularity come into this one, or again, is it just too expensive? There's better players. He's away from home.
I'm on Mboma. I like Mboma. Mboma just is. He's not old. He doesn't need the breather. When they're gonna. He's both one of their best creators, if not their best creator, and then also one of their best finishers. He's just so dominant in that team. So you can make all the arguments that we made for De Bruyne, except the fact is the 2 goals, the possibility where it's 2 goals and an assist, that happens with Mboma. He's still in that prime where he can create that and give you floor points. And so cash, I don't know, but tournament, absolutely.
It's kind of easy to afford him. I mean, it's easy to afford whoever you want. I mean, so
this is kind of similar to when I was talking about Danny Munoz, I don't know, a few months ago and his passion, but I feel like Mboma and Wissa are like, I don't know, 2 of the best friends in the Premier League. They're best friends. They have a celebration together. These guys love each other. This is their final. It seems like it's going to be their final game together because Mboma is going to go somewhere else. And if you play Mboma, these 2 guys have combined for, I can't remember the stat, but they're in like some record books for, the most goals and assists combined, and they're supplying goals and assists for each other, whatever the stat is. If you play Mboma in tournaments, how likely are you to play Wissa with him and then get the 2 goals, 1 assist, 1 goal, 2 assists from those guys? I know I'm ignoring Kevin's shot here, but have either of you played both of them on the same slate this season? I guess is maybe more of a question.
Yeah, but not when they cost 18.7 combined.
Yeah, but you're playing the best friends angle, and then you can play your boy Diego Jota and JFP.
Yeah, the other thing is
set your lineup
on bigger slates too. Like they're expensive enough where 18 point. If one of them scores like 18, I wouldn't even want it probably. So like they can each have a goal, and like they need the best friends
angle. This is the best friends angle. They're both getting more than 20 points.
Okay.
Yeah, you're getting 2 goals, 1 assist, 1 goal, 2 assists.
Yeah, you can afford it. I don't mind it. I mean, you could stack a game. That's an angle for tournaments.
Most teams will like that strategy, so we'll count that as success. Defender is.
I have great.
You have great. Sorry, what?
Not great internet connection.
I didn't hear it, but
we don't hear you, Mo.
Oh no, Mo's internet just cut out.
Oh no! Right when he had an epiphany too.
But let's move on to defender. This isn't as an exciting defender slate as you would think from a 10-game slate. We look at these prices, and it's like Mo is back here, but we're on a defender here. We have Porro. We don't have to worry about Porro. We have Maatsen. It doesn't seem like he's going to start. Like, this isn't just the exciting defender slate that we want it to be. And then Ryan's guy is Stupinian is here, 6K against the leftover post-celebration Tottenham team. And then we go all the way down to the bottom, and Mo's favorite player, Harry Moss, is sitting there staring at us in the face at 2,500. Are you guys just plugging in Harry Moss for cash games and then tournaments, just everything? Yeah, I don't know if there's a showdown for that one, just captaining him. Like, how much Harry Moss are we going to play on this slate?
Oh, man. I mean, Harry Moss is. I'll let Mo start. Harry Moss is not in my player pool. I think Mo had like something to say before his internet went out. I want to hear Mo's thoughts on Estupinian also, but we'll throw it over to
Mo. God. So on Harry, I'm out. I was fully on board. I played him min cash in a couple slates, and he's just doing what a youngster would do if he was getting his debut with a new team and just didn't want to screw up, right? He's just not pushing up and making a lot of things happen. He did give like 5 points on a slate, but it's not going to do it for you in tournaments. I don't think it does it for you in cash here either. Like we've said several times, you're not limited on cash in this slate. So I just don't think it's the way to go. Estupinian, I will say I had gone all the way out on him. Then he absolutely crushed me in Showdown. He was taking shots in the 96th minute against Liverpool when they were up a goal and had no need for floor. So the man is just hungry for floor. I couldn't tell you why, but he's just doing it all. So that's
I need Ryan's thoughts. The last time we had a Estupinian conversation, Ryan just like I was on him, and Ryan's like, no, he sucks, no sets.
I was with Mo. I was out with Mo, but then he really crushed us. 16 floor against Liverpool. I mean, he does this kind of. He didn't even take any sets. I can't rule him out here, Adam. I would have normally just ruled him out, but like this matchup is so good. So I don't think he's like a priority or anything without sets, but definitely a matchup play. I think he should end up with a high floor one way or another, and I still think he would take certain free kick shots because he scored that. We've seen him take a couple, and he scored that one. I think might have been against City, or it was in some big game. But yeah, and then a Moss, I just don't think you need it. I guess if you're jamming, maybe you need a Moss on your Mbomo whistle lineup, Adam. But or else, I think you can go with some better.
I'm going with the center back in that lineup.
Yeah, who are the best defenders on the slate?
I don't know, Mo. Who are the best cash defenders on the slate?
I think you pointed out a few of them. So you had in your article 8 Nouri. I like even when he's not on sets, you've just got that combo of just involvement in everything that gets him to a decent level. Again, I would put Estupinian in the conversation because he's going to be the top. He is firmly in contention for top point getter in terms of the limited options we have here. My boy and your boy Adam, Beef Wellington, is taking sets. I will say one thing about Wellington is he's not afraid, right? And he played 90 last game. I don't think the coach is going to have much more to tell them other than go out and have fun. So at 3K, you could do a lot worse. He took 4 of them last game. I think he'll take a good number again this time.
Beef Wellington, my top FanDuel play. There you go, FanDuel.
But I don't really have many other top plays. I'm probably leaving out a few. But those
I would throw Kirkez in probably. I would probably throw Kirkez in just for the matchup and the goal total, and also just because Ran as the top guy, we talk about it all the time, is never like a certainty or a smash, and like same with Estupinian. So Kirkez is live to put up the top defender score. Adam, you want to Trippier? Let's just hope he doesn't start, right? Trippier's probably not going to start, it seems, but you never know. I mean, it was supposedly a minor thing.
If he starts, I don't want him.
I don't either, but you guys talked a bunch about Newcastle.
I think 70% Trippier for 60 minutes. I don't want him. He hasn't been training. He hasn't been training either. Like that.
Yeah, I was going to mention, Adam, I think a better play is wing back Tino for 4,500 and 90 minutes.
I mentioned him in the article, but why am I spending extra $2K for Livramento when Amos is?
Well, I mean, like clean sheet and assist upside. How about Leif Davis for 5K?
Leif Davis is there. So Leif Davis is 5K. That I think that one he may come into cash conversations.
Yeah, I think he might.
One big question for both of y'all: what about the Liverpool left back? I mean, if it's
hasn't even got mentioned yet, right?
I was going to ignore that, but okay.
I mean, right now Sobo's not in the projected. If he comes in the projected, I think it's a 60-minute sub. I think if Robertson is in the team for his farewell, which seems likely, he'll go quite long before he's subbed. What do you do about that?
I think, that's interesting, Mo. I think you could play Robo here. I don't love it, but the lack of opportunity cost makes it interesting. Again, he just had these guys, if it's Robo, he just has to beat Kirkez and Rand. It's not that much. And he's going to split sets, right? In the game that has a high total. So I would get it. I get it. I mean, I would probably rather have a guy with more upside, but seems okay.
There's 3 more I want to point out here.
Yeah, we haven't mentioned a guy I really like.
Reece James. Reece James is 4,900. I think he just always has to be in the conversation because sets first off. And Reguilón, okay, 3,900. But this is a good buy for him as well. But 3,600. Vladimir Sufal, 83 minutes, 90 minutes, 3 shots those last 2 starts. He's getting forward. They're playing Ipswich. He's sitting here at 3,600, and I don't know. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
That was mine. Okay. You took mine. Vlad Sufal has to be in any conversation just for 3,600 in the matchup. Definitely in cash consideration. That's who I was thinking of. I wouldn't play a mass. You just find the 1,000 for Sufal. And then Reguilón, that'd be more of a tournament play. But I agree. If you happen to get 90 in an up and down game, because he will split sets for sure in almost in any lineup, really. I mean, he's left-footed, so that's cheap.
Yeah, two fullbacks, wingbacks in the blah Ipswich West Ham match. All right, goalkeeper Mo. I know Ryan hates talking goalkeeper. We need some. Without Jack, without the article writer of goalkeepers, we need some deep thoughts on goalkeeper. I said in the primer that you basically don't want to play a goalkeeper above 5K. I hope you're on that strategy, and if not, what is your goalkeeper strategy on a 20-team slate?
Yeah, I mean, the strategy for me is most likely going to be who fits and gives me some sort of decent theory through which he gets there. Because I'm not. I think you're spot on that I'm not inclined to pay for the pay up goalkeepers and take their 10 to 16 points. That's in tournaments primarily, but I also share that in cash. I don't think you can play it that safe in cash and expect to make it. So I think that some of the guys that you shouted out in your article made good sense. I would say from the guys at the bottom, Leno is going to be very tempting because I just don't feel like the City team convert as well. But I feel the same about Ramsdale, who's a good goalkeeper and many times has shown himself to be capable of good points, even in a bad matchup. The one guy I want to give a shout out to that isn't mentioned here is my boy Kinski. All right. He hasn't gotten opportunities. He got pushed to the bench too quick by Tottenham. And I don't think this lineup is actually as bad as it's being sold. I think a lot of these guys weren't involved or were barely involved in the cup final. And so I think they'll be eager to come out and do a decent job. And let's be honest, the pairing of Davies and Danso is going to allow a lot of shots. And Brighton are going to take a lot of shots. and I think they'll score some of them too. But I think there's a good chance for 5, 6, 7 saves there. So I don't know if I'll play Kinski, but I like him.
Okay. Ryan, you got a choice of them? Or
I mean, I think Bear told us Kinski was like the best keeper in the Czech league or something when he came over from some team I never heard of, Pardubice or something. No, I agree with most sentiment. Like, I think you're playing a dangerous game trying to look for a clean sheet on this slate. Targeting saves seems fine. I like Leno, like Mo said, but I think you can also throw in Pickford against Newcastle and Hendo. A couple big games from Hendo recently. He's going to get peppered with shots, especially if Poole don't score early. I think Leno could win. I would have said Leno. I agree with Mo there.
We got to take. Take.
I think Leno can win. I think it was 2 years ago. 2 years ago, was it? Was Brentford home against City? Win clean sheet for Brentford in that spot on the last day of the season.
City had the title won. It was over.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, City suck now. So it's like, which one do you want? Title one or like a good City team? But I'm just saying it could happen. Fulham's not bad. I think what sells was something to play for in the lowest total game. Seems good for 4,300. Sa for 44 seems good. I don't know. It's goalkeeper, Adam.
Yeah, I think Sells might be the most popular one in cash games, but
who's going to keep the clean sheet? Who's going to keep the clean sheet?
So if I had to pick one guy, if I had to give a hot take, I'm all in on Palmer.
Wow.
I think Palmer is a good goalkeeper. I think it's their last.
I don't think the saves are going to be there.
That part you might be right, but he's underpriced. He is at home in their farewell. West Ham aren't playing for anything. I agree the saves aren't going to be there.
I don't think this team can keep a clean sheet either.
But if the question is who might get that wing clean sheet, run out of the pitch with the kind of 15 plus points, low price, Palmer is right up there for me.
I think the clean sheet is Nick Pope here. I'm not gonna play him, but I think Newcastle have the clean sheet.
Come on, that's an easy one. I mean, he's priced for the clean sheet. We want one clean sheet.
There's one clean sheet in the slate. It's Nick Pope. There you go.
Right.
That'd be my pick too, Adam, if I could only pick one.
All right, so neither one of us are playing them, but maybe you will. I don't know. All right, guys, we're 70 minutes here, but I think the people still want like one really good tournament take here.
Ryan, you think Beef Wellington stains Raya?
No, I don't. I think Arsenal are probably second most likely to keep a clean sheet.
But, sorry,
they're on the road, and
I'm betting on an Arsenal clean sheet. So
yeah, I think they are. They are. Anybody but Southampton, man. I just can't believe how inept Southampton looked recently.
All right, Adam, sorry I interrupted. Go ahead. You were leading up for the tournament setup.
We need to how are we going to win this 10K? I'm not going to ask you guys directly how you're going to win the 150K, but last season we had the 5-0 Crystal Palace. We have the 4 goals from whoever played Luton Town. I think it was Fulham. So which team are going to get the 4 and 5 goals? How are we going to win tournaments here? Pick your one game that's going to have over 4.5 goals. And yeah, Ryan, what game's popping out to you here?
Oh, sorry. I was looking at other stuff. What game's going to have over 4.5 goals? It's a good question. Which game could pop off? Not a lot of them. Like, as far as these games that mean something, like, I guess depending what Spurs can do, maybe. Like I don't think like we didn't even mention Bruno, right? Like I don't think United are going to put a team out there that are going to be able to go back and forth. I don't really think Bruno's only 7,800, by the way. I don't think the Forest Chelsea game seems tough for that to happen. Like like Southampton Arsenal, no. Like Everton aren't going to do it with Newcastle, most likely. Maybe Liverpool Palace. We saw Brighton were able to do whatever they want against Liverpool, so I think Palace will create plenty of chances. That game definitely could have a bunch of goals in it. Fulham City, I don't think would shock anybody with neither team. I know City has stuff to play for, but you never know. I don't know. Do you have I actually think, I have a little more interest in the Ipswich West Ham game than Mo does. I don't know. What do you think? What do you guys think? Any game's going to pop off like that?
Mo, what do you got?
My two leading contenders right now, I think, actually, I'll make it three. My three leading contenders are the three games at the top of the clean sheet. I think, the cheat sheet. I think Brentford Wolves could easily go 3-2. The Wolves defense looked very leaky. And I think the Brentford team need a win for any chance of relevancy to be in contention for something at the end of the season. I think Spurs defense, that pairing is atrocious, and Reguilon's not a great defender either. I think, with a Brighton team that wants a win, we could be super leaky. And I think they looked great against Liverpool. I mean, I think they really can create something, 3 goals easily. And on the other side, I think Tell could score. And then finally, I think Arsenal, if they show up for it, they could easily bang 4. Those are my leading contenders. I don't think they're all going to get there, but they are the 3 games that are most likely to me to get over that 4.5 implied goal.
I like it. Based off Ryan's recommendation, not based off that, but going along with that, George Hurst is 4,100. Maybe in my thoughts for one of my lineups. If Liam Delop isn't even on the bench, McKenna said today he's allowed Delop to speak with other teams. So if Delop's not on the bench, we could see 90 from George Hurst. I think he was Ipswich's leading scorer last season in the championship. And he's been getting some run lately. I like him there. And I think I'm going to do an Eze and Mateta lineup based off of Liverpool not caring and allowing 12 shots on target against Liverpool. I know I'm at risk of both guys getting subbed off at 45, but maybe these guys both really care and they want to put it on Liverpool. I think we could get something like that. Another game where you want to look at lineups to see what happens. And then I think everyone's going to be on this. Maybe not everyone, but I'm definitely going to have some kind of Brighton stack. I'm betting Brighton over 2.5 goals. Definitely going to be Groot up. We'll see who's starting. Definitely going to have Welbeck in at least one lineup. And again, some Arsenal guys. I think Arsenal are going to rip apart whatever Southampton put together. But I think that's what I'm going with. A lot of options there. But Mo, you got one more thing here?
Yeah, not to kill the hopes of this Mateta as a lineup before it gets built. But I would be surprised if Nketiah isn't in after the brace he scored.
He might be.
I really think he's the one who gets the chance. Like we said, there's nothing to play for, but he's finally scoring goals for him. I think he gets another chance to do something, especially versus Liverpool.
Yeah, Mateta's a big parter. He's been partying a bunch, so it wouldn't be surprising if he didn't start this one. And Nketiah got another. But yeah, just when lineups come out, find out what's different, find out who looks different, find out what formation's different, find out what the managers are doing. If you have questions, hit us up in the Discord, rotowire.com/chat. A lot of times on this final day when some managers randomly changes some things up, the center backs look different, the midfield looks different. That's when the edges come about. I said this in the primer. Aston Villa last season put in Callum Chambers in the midfield and John Duran, who hadn't played at all pretty much last season, in a 4-4-2 random formation. They lost 5-0. If you see random things like that, that's where you can get your edges. A lot of times it's just people kind of have their thoughts going into the slate. They have they find their core plays and they're like, I'm going to play this guy no matter what these teams look like. Your edges on a 10-game slate like this are random things that pop up. Harry Wilson getting a random start like last season, stuff like that is where I think you're going to win some tournaments. But you guys have anything else here before we go?
All right, I wasn't going to mention it because I thought we were going to sign off and we were done, but we got no mention in the show. Last person I'll mention, Omari Hutchinson. 16 points, 2 games in a row. He's at home. It's the farewell versus a bad West Ham team. Omari Hutchinson is in the winning lineup for the king of the pitch. That's my call right now.
Wow.
I didn't say he wasn't in my George Hurst lineup.
Wow. I like that call. I'm just going to say same price, same game. Guy that we didn't mention.
Kudos.
Like it that way. Let's just forget about the pot, you know?
Kudos.
Same price, same game.
There you have it. The former king of the pitch winner says the winner is coming from the Ipswich West Ham game for 5,600.
I was going to mention him in midfield, but I forgot.
There's 13 king of the pitch tickets sitting right here. So I figure that gives this podcast about a 10% chance of coming home with the gold on Sunday.
I hope it's more than 10%.
I think
there's 200 entries.
I'll take this 10K and you guys take the 150K. We'll split it. Okay. We'll split it then.
Deal.
That seems fair to me.
YouTube 15. That is YouTube 15 15% off RotoWire subscription. Again, cheat sheet, rotowire.com/soccer. 10-game cheat sheet. This is the most helpful thing in the business other than this video and other than the 2 articles I wrote up earlier in the week. The most helpful thing in the business. But thank you, Ryan, all season for not writing articles and joining me on this show. And thank you to Mo, who's jumped on our show halfway through the season because Jack, he needed to get some more money. He's out there. I don't think he's going to be watching this show, but and shouts to anyone here. We're 75 minutes in. We still got a few live listeners on this show, but good luck to everyone on King of the Pitch, on the main contest. I don't think we got a RotoWire winner the last couple years on this final day, but let's do it this year. I think we gave out a lot of good information and a lot of good winning information. But thank you guys, and good luck in King of the Pitch.
Thanks, Adam. Thanks.